Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Most of you like calling me Ken, so I think we are gonna go with that today. It's still in the morning around 10, and today we are supposed to go and make the window. It was only one window that was remaining of all the windows that were initially installed in the house. It's one window, and if you look at it, it's only like 20 minutes to maybe 30 if you are doing it only one person. So he's gonna come and I'm gonna help him. I'm gonna be his handman for today, and I think today I'm gonna I've been getting my hands dirty all since we even started the house. So today I'm gonna just extend that part of me just being a handman in the house. So we are gonna wait for him. It's still 10. He usually comes because when you do a contract, because if you're making the windows, it's different from the rest of the house. Actually, most part, because if you let's say you have 10 windows to be in the house, it's just like a contract. So you have to tell the masons once you finish the windows, you agree. So once he finish, then you settle him or her. So he's supposed to come and do the one window that I've mentioned. So it's still morning, and the sun is a little bit not that strong, although for the most part of the week it's been really sunny. Actually, it hasn't really rained. Today is on Sunday, and since last Monday, let me just say, it has not really rained that much. It has only drizzled once, but for like I think 10 minutes, just small drizzle. So over here we're experiencing some shortage of water, because we're only left with one water in the tank, which is at my grandma, because the tank has that tank is usually, I think it's like 100 liters. So it's the one that is remaining, but it's really low. The rest are already finished, because we usually give our cattle water. When the ones in the borehole dries, we give them the ones in the tank. But for now we've been taking them to the river. I think the first time I took you guys to the river was when we were building the gable, both gables. Also that time we didn't have water, so we had to rush each and every time we were building. We had to rush to the river, draw water. So that's where we are taking them. It's not that far away. If you walk comfortably without maybe pacing up, maybe you can take up to maybe 8 minutes, 7, around there. It's not really far. Yeah, so that's where we usually take our cattle until we start seeing rain. Although our calves, we don't take them there. We give them the water in the tank. That's why I'm saying we are experiencing some shortage of water. But apart from that, we are all good. It hasn't been it hasn't been raining, but if I look at the compound, it's just green. I think because of the trees, it's a little bit helping with all of that. You can't really tell that it has been raining, as in you can see, if you see around, you can maybe think it's raining until you go outside the compound. It's when you can notice. For those that are maybe watching locally, can attest to that. The rains, I think this is usually the sun that helps in drying grains, because people have just harvested. So after that, it's usually sun for maybe a month averagely. Then that sun is supposed to dry the grains. Then after that, it's when people start to plant. So we are expecting rains to come maybe a week from now, because usually people start planting on the first week of the 3rd month of the year, when the year begins. So we are in February. We are ending February. Probably beginning of March, although some parts people start planting at the end of February. But I think we'll know. It's usually, the weather usually changes, so I think that one you can predict, but until it happens, you can't say otherwise. So the compound is really green. That's what I like. You can just stay in the compound, relax, and you know the compound is clean. Yesterday we spent actually we were just cleaning, because also in our home, because we are a Christian community, most people in the community are Christian, with very few percentage of people who are Catholics. Also Catholics are Christian, so let me just say, and even Muslims are also Christians. So let me just say, if I'm wrong, if I'm, maybe I don't know much about religion, let me just put it that way. But in our community, most people go to church on Saturdays. Very few people go to church on Sundays, and very few people go to church on Friday, which I think are the Muslims. So because our home usually accommodate Christians every Sunday since the month began, which is in Feb. So we've been accommodating Christians at my grandma's place over there. So they usually come every Sunday. So this is the last Sunday that they are coming. So usually on Saturdays evening, actually from morning, we sweep in the morning and also sweep in the evening. So us doing that makes the compound really clean. Apart from these, one of you guys said that this is a poetry. We have 4 of them in the compound. So the rest of the trees don't really shade that much, but the poetry, it shades every morning. When you wake up, you'll find this nice yellow flowers. So I think we won't sweep them. They always look nice, especially when they're on the ground like this. You see how so the flower is yellow up, and also below it you see some yellow flowers. So it's usually nice. Yeah. So I think one is also next to my grandma's place, that tree you're seeing over there, and also one is just there, this tree I'm pointing, and also one is this one next to our house, next to the gate. So we are not gonna sweep them. They look so nice if they are the ones that have shade, but if it's a mixture of them and also these other trees, then now that's when they are ugly. But once they turn black, because they usually turn black, for now they are yellow, very nice, fresh. They're even smelling nectar. Yeah. So we won't really sweep them until they turn dark. So I'm beginning my video. If you are new, please subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. And since you guys have been calling me Ken, I've been reading your comments, I think I will be going for that name. It's really simple. And yeah, so I think we are gonna wait for the mason. I'm gonna be the handman. My dad told me to help him, so we are gonna be 2 people. And yeah, I hope it gets interesting.
Don't know what he.
Io so vorremmo come bio ka. A cosa dio che il potesono lana ka.
Yani yo si vera lagi.
Quello ngane mano o magna lo che le ka.
Nah.
Bene buola. Quello bene buola ogni sane mi tiene ma guarda qua. Sono la colus. Guarda cara.
นี่
เนี่ยนะบ้าง
Ako beni good thing.
Ini dah mana?
ใช่มันนี่
Ini kan ini mengko chong ke.
มันนี่คือ
Sangat lagi ni.
น่าจะเลยค่ะ
Kan ini tu straight.
Spirit play ako.
Kabilo sikit.
Lalu sana. Mana jauh Korea.
Dong so long as any kinde gari yako. Wachuna tano. Wachuna ni obeda kwa
Itu dah moro mana
Go
kita
back.
Hah?
Spirit level moro mana kita magnet.
Man
Kita kita sama apa?
Maka aluminium. Wakata nini ken. Na maka aluminium.
Kan dia tengok dia.
Iya korakon. Mari goi gyo. Mode.
Mamanya ni bau lah. Lampu bawah, masuk lampu lain.
Gitu.
Ini tidak. Ada gerak.
Bro, kata pula.
Kalau duduk malam tu.
Kwani kwa soko ni muduogo piny.
Kone mudu. Niane. Niane level lagi.
Ini
Benda.
biru ini. Gina ni kah? Gimana ni?
Yung kau. No.
Ni
Kwa sawa.
ni. Oh dia. Eric sa jota manyo. Sio. Sio duka yuko. Hadi ako lami di sio. Ko lambda tire dala ko. Ko ira na wiye ne. Ne jaram bira na iro. Dire na iro.
No, ya ves. So it's 3 in the evening, and we've finished the job, the whole window thing, because as I mentioned earlier, we were just constructing this front window. So this is how it look. The mason has already left, and it has dried a little bit because we finished a little bit much earlier, before even midday. And I'd like to say that I think one of them, I even said it earlier when I was beginning the video, that because it's very hot, actually when I check at my phone, it's around 23 degrees hot, 23 degrees Celsius. So I don't know whether that's hot for you guys, maybe in another continent, but over here in Africa it's so hot for us. And while I was just inside the compound, because our home is just next to the road, and I'm seeing people going to the river in carts. Some are going with the tractors, some are going with the motorcycles, others are just going with the cows. They attach cows with the cart and put on some jerry cans or something that can hold water. And I'm seeing it, and I think that's because people are lacking water in their homes. And for us, we've been using this how do I call it? It's like a tank, a small tank. It's broken, but not really damaged. It can still hold some water on it. and it has been really helpful. But for I think because we are really February always over here, beginning of the year, it's usually sunny. That's the most that's the period where it's usually more hot compared to most months of the year. So for us, I think our borehole isn't having water, and that's because our neighbor, because our home has been here for a very long time. So our immediate neighbor bought land, then constructed a house, and I think he was looking for somewhere to also dig his borehole. So our borehole is just next to the fence at my grandma's place. So she also decided to dig hers on the opposite side next. So I think she dug hers very deep compared to ours. So ours is I think running out of water because the land is kind of sloping a little bit. So I think that's the reason as to why we are lacking water. But prior before that, early in the 90s, because my dad tells me, because back then we had a lot of cattle. So if you have cattle, you have to have water. That's very, very important. So back in the 90s, we had some taps in the compound, because back then the government had the initiative, just the local government, to bring water to the nearest high school. So in our village we have actually we have the basic need that they usually call the social amenities. Yeah, so we have schools, we have a church, we have a shopping center, we have a dispensary, that's like a hospital, just a small hospital, and a police post is just a little bit far away. But usually when you walk at night past 10, you will meet them on the roads. So the government had the initiative to bring water to the nearest high schools. You know, our village has both the primary school and the high school just next to each other. The road is the one separating them. So when you're living in this village, you can go to the shop easily, you can go to the church easily, your children can both go to the primary and the high school easily, and also to the hospital, the dispensary. And it's not I think I've already took you guys to our shops, so they are in just the same place. It's a 2-minute walk from home, 2 minutes, 3-minute walk. So the government back then brought water to the high school. So I think my uncles decided to bring water to this home. So let me show you the taps, and I'll also explain what happened. That's why you see us now, we are really struggling with water. So this is a tap over here, was one of them. So you see how it was made. So it had this was the pipe, it added, so water was flowing. See how it is made. And remember when I told you that our home had paddocks for cattle? So in each paddock had such, the paddocks were big, not they were not small, they were big. So each paddock had such a tap, and also there was one just next to the cow sheds. So what happened is the water was coming from the nearing county, because I know most of you guys maybe you call it state, from this state to the next state. So over here we call them counties. So that county had has a lot of water. Actually it's an highland, so the water used to be drawn from that county or state to you guys, then into this county, this state. So when that government I think the term was done, you know, here in Africa things are a little bit crazy when it comes to government operations. So I think when that government was ended, and the new government came in. I think there wasn't enough fund, because you know each government has its own agenda, so it kind of wasn't operational, let me just say that, because after that government, I think because the water was being drawn from that island into the tank, it was a very big tank, because back then in the 90s I wasn't around, so my dad tells me much of the stories when they were, I think, a little bit older than me, just a little bit older than me, so maybe like 5 years older than me. So the tank got destroyed, people vandalized it, and even water wasn't there anymore. So as I mentioned, the water was supposed to go to the nearest high school. So for us, we took we drove the water from the high schools into our home, because our home is close to those schools, those high schools. So once that water was vandalized up from the topmost part, from the tanks, the high schools lacked water, and therefore we also lacked water. So that's the chain, how the chain went. So for us now, our compound doesn't really have that running water. I saw some video in some videos of people in Yabanze are having running water. I think for us also, we used to have that in the 90s, but I think things really changed, and for us we have very dry taps. I mean, our taps are very dry. The only source of water that we have are the water tanks and the boreholes. And I think one of these coming years, I think I will have to change that, because even if it's come to drilling a very deep borehole, I will drill, because I think water is one of the necessities to have in a home, because without water things can't really function. So it's a good thing that we've managed to complete our construction with a little bit of challenge, just a little bit of challenge of water, but as I said earlier, maybe in the next coming week the water will be there. But that is the only thing I can say that has really posed a challenge to us. It's so hot, guys, it's so hot, but if you look around, it's green. I don't know what's happening. People are going to the river to draw water, not one, not two, just the villagers. And I think also for us, the water in the tank, I mentioned that the water in the tank is 100 liters, but I think just that came out wrongly. I think it's more than 10,000 liters, because the tank is a little bit bigger. So the water is draining, because we're using it also to water our cattle, our cows and sheep, but the bigger ones are going to the river. So I think we'll have to also, because our uncles plus my dad, when they were young adults, they managed to brought water, although it was easy for them because the government had brought it to the nearest high school. So for them, they had to just tap it from the high school, which is just like a distance, like a 3-minute walk. So for us, I think we are gonna have it the hard way, but at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we have water, because as long as we have cattle, we have to, because I don't see myself going to the river during the dry season with the tractors just to draw in water. I think that's not very economical now when it comes to now doing such maybe farming. Yeah, so that will not be very economical. That will make things very hard for me. So I think is one of the issues actually that I've seen prior. The others I doubt, but I will learn along the way. But so far so good. The windows are done. Let me just show you. Actually, the concrete has dried. that's the level of how hot it is. Very hot. The past few days I read at my phone I was seeing 33 degrees hot. Sometimes I was seeing 27 degrees hot. So generally it's very hot. So this is the part, actually it has dried. So this is the front part of the house. This was the window that was taken back, then remade. So what they did not put initially, you see this line, that's where the initial window that they made was reaching. So we returned it and added this lower part you are seeing. Initially they were not there, so the window was reaching somewhere here. So they went and added these 3 lower parts, yeah, so that the window could fit below, because the window was short and also it was reaching somewhere here. So they also had to extend this part so that it could reach. So that's some of the few changes that was made on the window. Otherwise the windows are so nice, they look very nice. And I think the next thing, because we are done with the windows and also done with my previous video I talked about putting on the door frames, which we managed. By now they are just drying. We did a little bit of curing, but I know that isn't so much necessary because we are gonna plaster it. Then that's the most important part that needs curing, because if you don't cure if you plaster and you don't cure so well, the cement won't be really strong, especially if your masons didn't do the mixture, the ratio of sand and cement so well. So I think I'm even beginning to sweat. If you look around, there's no one outside. Actually we are like my grandma is at her place, my mom and dad, my younger sister, and one of my cousins, but there's no one outside. I think they are somewhere in the compound under a shade. Maybe you can't really just see them, but yeah, it's been a good week for us. Building is usually hard, but if you manage to complete it, you usually have to be grateful. So what I'm looking forward to is rain, because I think if you live in a village, there's not so much to do apart from farming. Very few people are business minded. Those like not small scale, big scale. So most people do farming, which is like keeping animals, going to farms. So people in the village tend to care about rain. Actually they tend to care about the weather so much compared to people in the city, because people in the city, they just wake up, go to the office, come back and repeat. But over here people really like to, because when you want to see something grow, even if you plant maize, even if you keep goats, water must be around, water must be there, and you have to have it readily. But for us, I'm seeing most of the villagers are going to the river. I think the nearest pump that is meant for the villagers is also not far away from home, because it's next to our forest, because we've planted a small forest, a small family forest, where we planted a lot of eucalyptus trees. Actually we planted them like 6 years ago. Now they are so big. Let me just show you. They are this size because back then we had the seed bed in the compound, and in the seed bed we left two eucalyptus trees, of which one we cut while we were making the scaffold. Yeah, it's really good that once I learned something, I don't forget. Scaffolds are the things, are the ladders that people use when they are building walls. Someone mentioned it back then. Actually, it was last year while we were building the wall, but I haven't forgotten. So one of the eucalyptus we cut to build the scaffolds, and one eucalyptus tree remained. So this is how they are right now at the forest. See how this one is so tall. Yeah, is it scaffolds? Am I really right? Yeah, but I think I'm right. So the pump is just next to the forest because the forest has an underground water that doesn't drain. Yeah, so but that one is a little bit far away. We should think of drilling one at home or having and because of our taps running dry, I don't think it's really that unideal to depend on the government for water, because they've let people around down. Because if this government brings in water and they don't continue with the same agenda, then you won't have water in the maybe coming years, which isn't an ideal thing. So I think the best thing to do is just to drill your own water, have your own water in the compound, such that it can't really run out, because depending on the government is sometimes not advisable. Sometimes it's advisable, sometimes it's not, because people have their own when people get into government, they have their own agenda, not necessarily for the people. So some people get into projects for the money. So if you depend on that, if you depend on them to have continuous supply of something, I think it's a dream that will be cut short somewhere around the years, as the years goes. But all in all, our job is done, and for those that have watched, I'm so grateful. I was actually a mason. My dad told me to help the guy, but he came and even helped more than he told me. Actually even took the part of a handman, and I was so happy because they were having stories. They can relate with each other so well. If he could have just left me with the mason, I think we could have just kept quiet, maybe talked just a little bit along the way. But because he was there, I really enjoyed their conversation. I really enjoyed their talk, although I was cutting it. Sometimes privacy, you give them that privacy, so the conversation can't be really continuous. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm so happy the guy came and we finished the work. So if you've watched, I'm so grateful. For my returning subscribers, you guys are so amazing. Take care of yourself, and let's meet in my next video. Bye bye.